Hey, it's Barb from Wonderful Works, and today we're going to talk about something really great, creating ways for everyone's gifts to shine at church. So glad you're here today. Wow, look at all those people going to serve at church. They look so joyful, they're practically shining for Jesus. Isn't it great how the church helps everyone use their gifts? Disability empowerment and serving the church. 4 barriers to knock down. When it comes to helping people find their fit for serving at church, we often start with questions like these. What positions need filled? Want to take a spiritual gifts test? And do you like working with kids? Because pretty sure we could use more volunteers. But how often do we ask this? Is there anything that makes serving at church harder for you? The truth is, many people with disabilities want to serve at church, but may be facing hidden obstacles that leaders don't see. So today, we're going to ask ourselves something else. How can we help? Number 1, asking. Probably the most common barrier that stops people with disabilities from serving is this: no one has asked them. Sometimes leaders make faulty assumptions about a person's abilities and assume that they understand what a person can and cannot do without ever asking. This can lead to people with tremendous gifting being left out of the very opportunities that God crafted for them. This hurts everyone. But the good news is it's easy to fix. Just don't make assumptions. Get to know each person and see where they shine. The other reason people with disabilities aren't always approached about serving is that sometimes leaders are afraid they may make a mistake when discussing disability. And while we always want to talk in a way that is respectful, the truth is sometimes we may unintentionally say the wrong thing. But you know what? Being afraid of accidentally offending someone is not a good enough reason to not talk to them about important things like serving. Because most people would rather be imperfectly invited in than perfectly left out. So don't let fear stop you from discovering someone's gifts. Instead, learn more about disability etiquette. And if you make a mistake, remember it's okay. Learn from it and keep going. You and your church will be glad you did. Number 2, communication. Some people who have intellectual or developmental disabilities may have a more challenging time communicating to leaders how they would like to serve. This is especially true for people who are non-speaking or minimally verbal. But just because communication is complex doesn't mean it's not important. First, remember that even if a person is not able to verbally express what they want to say, they usually can understand most of what they hear. So show respect by talking directly to the person and then try incorporating some visual aids. One great way to learn where a person may want to serve is by using the Charting the Life course one-page person-centered description. This form can help you find out about the things that matter most to the individual, like what do people like and admire about me, what's important to me, and how best to support me. And if it's helpful, you can invite family and friends to join in with the discussion too, because finding out what matters most to the individual is a great way to find their serving fit. And one more note on visual communication. Sometimes the best way to learn what a person wants to do is just simply by observing them. Notice what the person is doing whenever they look happy and engaged, and what they're doing when they look frustrated or bored. Watching where people fade or shine is a great way to learn their gifts. Number 3, transportation. Some people with disabilities may not be able to drive themselves to and from church. So if you suspect this may be a barrier, find out more. Then see if there are any community services or church volunteers who can help. Number 4, opportunities. The last barrier that can leave people with disabilities out of serving is when churches are too rigid with opportunities. Just like other places in the church, serving opportunities may need to be adapted, and that's okay. Sometimes a brand new position may need to be created to fit an individual's unique gifts, or tasks may need to be broken down into smaller steps, or a buddy or mentor may be required to help a person as they serve. And while each of these adaptations are pretty small, the difference they make in someone's life is huge. Oh, and don't forget this about adaptations too. Sometimes it isn't the serving opportunity that needs to change. Sometimes it's the leader's perspective that needs to change. We should always remember that serving in all of its variations is pleasing to God, and it should be to us too. Wow, I feel like we learned a lot about disability and serving at church, but there's one more thing before you go. There's one more important way we can help tear down barriers: leadership. Inviting people with disabilities into church leadership positions matters because learning from their experience can change the way we do church. And when we learn from each other, then we can create churches where everyone has a chance to shine. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.